Welcome back. OPPD has announced the new winners of its Greener Together program. Customers fund the program voluntarily every month.
Yeah, the money goes towards environmental projects in Omaha of their choosing. Laura Samble is on your side with an inside look at where the grants are going.
On the top of this is where we will put the solar panels.
Nancy Williams' vision is turning into a reality, making her nonprofit No More Empty Pots a hub that helps urban and rural communities become self-sufficient and food secure. No More Empty Pots is one of two programs that received a grant from OPPD's Greener Together program. Williams says her nonprofit will use the grant to buy solar panels.
We should see an exponential return, because not only will that money not have to come from our operating funds to cover the cost of this, but the energy savings and the cost savings will go back into funding the programs with the people that we serve.
Programs like this community education class taught by Nancy Scott.
It's important so that people learn about plants. We are so separated from our growing roots as human beings. Humans have always been gardeners, and we have separated from our roots.
Another group called Florence Futures also received a grant. Their plans call for improving bus stops, adding bike infrastructure, and generally making this stretch of 30th Street more beautiful. The hope is that the improvements will bring more people to the Florence, Miller Park, and Minnelusa area and keep them there longer so they can enjoy and explore what the area offers. On your side, Laura Samble, 6 News.
OPPD started Greener Together last year, and so far it's raised more than $300,000 to support environmental projects.